Hello, I'm Morris Dimba. Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to take you through the reinforcement concrete building and rebar placement, and we'll go straight away to grid creation. And grid creation here, I had already done it, and I'll just explain to you how this came about by double clicking on the existing grid. And I'm doing this now for the new subscribers and who are new to Tekla structures, and I'm just trying to explain how this grid came about. Now I'll explain that in conjunction with the specifications or the entries made in these grid properties. Now if you take a look on the x-axis, this is x-axis here. On the x-axis we have 9 columns with an interval of 6 meters, and on the y-axis you can take a look on the x-axis here we have 4 columns, 5 columns with the interval of 6 meters, and height varies from 0 to 3 meters to 6 to 9 to 12 meters to these are floors. In fact, we are doing a reinforcement concrete building running up to 5th floor, taking that height full 24 meters high. Now the labels are here, labeled from this end A, B, C, D, and followed with the respective height going up, prefixed by positive sign. Now that's well explained like that, and we'll go straight away and start placing our pad footing, and then we go to column. Then I'll take you briefly on how to place the rebars. Then the rest will go to step 2, which will be another tutorial. Now I'll close this having explained that. Now we'll go straight to concrete right there. Having clicked on concrete, we'll go straight to footing. We'll pick on pad footing right there, then just click right there, just click expand, right click to exit from that command. We'll press Ctrl 4 to make our object more opaque than being transparent. Now we'll come to navigate and rotate with mouse. Click on the point you intend to rotate this object about. Again, I'll right click and double click to the object. We'll set these to 2 meters by 2 meters. The length, both lengths will be 2 meters by 2 meters, which means it should be square. To enter those properties, just double click on the pad footing right there, and these pad footing properties will come up, and in here you'll be able to adjust the size of the pad footing with these 2 tabs: attributes, position, and cast unit. Now under cast unit you'll be able to change the size of the pad footing. Then we go to position. Right on the position you'll be able to change the height going deep inside the ground. The height of the pad footing, which is 1.2 meters, then off the 0 level is 0.45 meters, which is negative. Then we leave it at that, though you can adjust that depending on on your specifications. Now from here again we'll go straight to column, and we go straight to column placement. We'll go to concrete. Then under concrete we come to column right there. We'll click on column, then we place it right there. We've placed our column there, and we want to check on the size of the column. We'll double click on the column right there, and under concrete column properties we'll have the 4 tabs. We'll have the attribute, position, cast unit, and deforming. Under attributes we have the column and the profile size, which is the 500 by 500 millimeter. The material is C30. Then on the position, we want to position this going down to the pad footing to cover that 450 millimeter deep to mesh with the pad footing deep down on the ground. Now the full height, this will be 3 meters. We make that 3 meters and go ahead and apply, modify and accept that. And having done that, we want to create views for our building. To create views, you just click on the grid and right click and come to create views along the grid lines. Having created that, now you can go to view and you come to view list. You'll be able to see this. Once you've created, you'll be able to pick and select all those views. I can take them back. I can take all those views back, take them back. Now I'll go back for them. I'll come to grid A, pick that grid A, and I'll go for grid 5 right there. I'll go ahead and accept that. And to check those views, you'll come to Windows here and you'll be able to see those views. Grid 1 is a 3D, and view 2 is on grid A, and view 3 is on grid 5. And where we are on grid 5, where you can see a full elevation from the full length of our building, with all the heights from 3 meters to 6 to 18, even to 24 meters, which is the utmost height. Now we will switch back to our isometric view right there. Now we want to populate these along the y-axis and x-axis. It's as simple as that. We'll just highlight everything right there and right click and come to special copy right there and pick linear. On linear, you'll populate this depending on the direction of the xy axis. Now if you take a look on our axis here, we have the y-axis pointing this direction and x-axis pointing in that direction. Now we will work with with the y-axis, and being the pointer is pointing on the positive direction, we will not prefix this dimension with a negative sign. We leave it as positive like that. Then we want to populate this along the y-axis, and we have already one made or placed on the grid. Now we want to populate 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we just come here and feed four columns, and go ahead and click copy. There you are. Right click and interrupt. Now we want to do the same that way. What we'll do, we'll just highlight everything here, then go and right click and come to special copy right there and pick linear. Now this time we'll work with the x-axis, but for us to effect that command or to invoke that command, we have to bring this y-axis to 0, because it will affect the direction or the linear copying of these columns along the x-axis. Now, and on the x-axis we'll feed a negative sign with an interval of 6 meters right there. Reason being, the pointer is pointing on the opposite direction. Now we want to go the other way. We have to place a negative sign to prefix that 6 meters. Now in here, before populating these columns along the x-axis, you have to know how many you want to populate along the x-axis. We have to count individually: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we'll just come here and feed 9. Then go ahead and click copy. There you are. Accept and right click and click on interrupt to exit from that command. Now if we switch to a plan view, we'll be able to see this. Now in here we want to place the tie beams or plinth beams. We'll come to concrete here and come to columns. We'll pick on beams right there. We'll pick it right from that corner to this end, to that end, then pick that to this end. Just snap right there, then again snap right there, then run all the way to this end. Snap right there, then snap right on the spot here where you clicked initially, then run all the way to the other corner and snap right there. Right click, click interrupt to exit from that command. Now we want to switch back to our isometric view, which will take us to view, then switch to 3D plane. Here we are. Now in here we want to check the dimensions of our plinth beam or the tie beams. We'll just double click on that. I'll press on my left button key on the mouse and drag this on this direction. Then I'll be able to check the size of our plinth beam here. We have under attributes, we have the name is beam, profile size is 450. 450 is the depth, then that width. Now we have 450 right there. On the position we've placed it, we can adjust the position on this. Can pick on front. You can play with it like that until you get to appropriate position for yourself. Apply and accept that. Now from here, this yellow color is not appropriate for us. We need a uniform color, since the column is gray, the pad footing is gray, so everything must be in uniform. Now I'll just come here and click on that, then press Ctrl and click on this. Then we'll go to this cube here. After clicking on that cube, we'll click on this, then come to class 1, and we've changed the color to gray. Pick on that, then press Ctrl and pick on this, then look for that cube, click on it, or just hover your curve on top of it, and this dialog box will come up and you'll be able to select your colors. I'll pick on class 1, which is gray. Perfect. Now I want to populate this column to the other to this direction and this one to that direction, so that all the beams are tied together, and we'll move on and show you how this is done. Now I'll pick on this beam, I'll right click and come to special copy there and pick linear. On linear, to populate this, check first of all the direction of your y axis. It's very key. Now I'll change my x to 0 and go back to my y axis and feed 6 meters there. How many do I want? I have 2 already, this and that. Now we need 3. 1 2 3. I'll feed 3 here, right there. Then I'll go ahead and click copy and accept that. I'll do the same thing here. I'll pick on this, I'll right click and come to special copy and pick linear. How many do I want? We have 9 of them, and if that will take you longer, we can go ahead and count this one by one. We'll just go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Now we'll go here and feed 8, then go and check the direction we are going. Where do we go? We go to x axis with the prefix of negative sign with that interval of 6 meters. Then we'll go straight away and click copy, accept that. Now if you switch back to plan view, this is what you'll see. Then let's switch back to our our previous view. Then if we switch back to our elevations, we'll be able to see these are our elevations at that height, 3 meters. Then you can check that height still 3 meters. Perfect. Let's switch back to our isometric view right there. Now we'll start placing our rebars here. First of all, we'll go to pad footing. Just go right there and type pad footing. Scroll down and just pick on pad footing reinforcement, or you can just type 77 if you're familiar with that, with the numerical names of the macros. Just pick on that. After clicking on that, please note that the macro is now active. Then the program is asking or requesting you to pick on the object that where you want to place the reinforcement. We'll pick on that. Right click and interrupt. You can zoom closer and see. This is our pad footing. It's now opaque. Now we can press Ctrl 2 and we'll be able to see everything now. I'll drag this here. This is very key. It helps us manipulate the dialog box which are not in a situation where the dialog box is bigger than or larger than the screen. You'll be able to manipulate it up and down on both sides, up and down, and both sides. Now I'll come back here, navigate this and turn this like this. This is our pad footing. I'll come back here and come to starter bar and click on that. I'll pick on the pad footing right here to place my starter bar right there, and you can go to navigate and check this whether it's sitting well with you. A starter bar footing is dependent on the size of our column. Size of our column is 500. Now our pad footing size must be 500. Just double click on it and you'll be able to see the size. Check on that. You'll be able to change this to 500 or to a specified size of your preference. And other parameters are here. You can play around with them. Now we'll go to rebar placement on the column. I'll come here again and type column. Just remove that and type column. Or if you're familiar with the numerical names, it's quite simple. You can just type 67 or 57 here. I'll remove that and type 57. On 57, I'll be able to pick column automated reinforcement layout. I'll pick on that and just come straight and click on the column right there, and I'm done. You can double click on that and you'll be able to change or manipulate the size and the spacing of the rebars. Like on the longitudinal rebar, you can change all this. Primary size, you can change to a specific size that suits your requirements. I'll pick on that and go ahead and click modify and accept. Perfect. Now when I come to beam, I want to put some reinforcement on this plinth beam. I'll come to beam right there. Type beam right there, or if you're familiar with the names, it'll be quite okay. Then you go scroll down, click on the scroll down. Once you've typed the beam, I'm looking for a macro labeled 54. I'll get it right here, or if you can't get it, just type 54 right there. I'll remove that. 54. Now I want these rectangular beams, or rectangular beam automated reinforcement layout. I'll pick on that, then come right here and click on that, and click on the beam. Right click, interrupt, and here we are. We'll close this and come to navigate, rotate with mouse. Perfect. This is our beam properly reinforced. Now we can populate this. We can pick on this and come to linear. We'll go to y-axis. We'll change that to 0 and change this to negative 6 meters, or 6 meters. How many do you want? We want 3 of these. Go ahead and click copy and click OK. Right click and accept that and interrupt. This has been populated, but the other one has been left out. You can go ahead and click on this. Right click and come to special copy, pick linear and change this to 1 and click copy and accept. Right click and interrupt to exit from that copy command, and we'll come again here on that and pick that, and we'll place that on that end. Right click, and there you are. Want to copy this to the rest, just click on that, make sure it is active. Right click and pick special copy, then come to linear, and prior to copying, please make sure you know the direction where you are populating, or you are copying along which line, but on what axis. On this side, we want to populate this along the x-axis, but on the opposite direction. Now we have to prefix our dimension with a negative sign. We'll come to 6 meters, and how many do we want? We want quite a number, 8. Let's try 8. Go ahead and click copy, accept. Right click and interrupt. One has been left out. Pick on that, right click and come to special copy, linear, then change this to 1. Copy and accept. Right click and interrupt. That's the way it's done. You can do the same thing here. Just right click, select on the rebar, then come to special copy, pick on that. You want to populate this along the y-axis. We'll prefix this with 6 meters interval, then change this to 0 to 0. Then we'll give that 5. We have to be sure by counting this. We change this to 4. Then go ahead and click OK, and make sure you know the direction you're copying to. Accept. Perfect. And then do the same thing here. Just click on that. Click on that. Make sure you've picked on what you intend to populate. Press Ctrl and select that. or it's quite simple. Just zoom closer and pick on that. Press Ctrl again and pick on that. Press Ctrl and pick on that. Right click and come to Special Copy, Linear. Then check the direction, then just click Copy. Accept, right click and interrupt that. It has been copied. Do the same thing. Pick on that, press Ctrl and pick on that. Pick on that, press Ctrl and pick on that. Just zoom closer, press Ctrl, pick on that, press Ctrl, pick on that. Come here, pick on that, press Ctrl and pick that. Again, do the same thing here by picking on that and pressing Ctrl and picking on that. Then come here, right click and come to Special Copy, pick Linear. And prior to invoking any command, make sure you know the direction where you're copying everything along. We want to copy this along the x-axis, but we have to change this to 0. But x-axis, is it on the opposite or the positive direction? This going to be a negative direction with that 6 meters interval. We want 9 of this. Then just go ahead and click Copy. There we are. Right click and click Interrupt. Now what is remaining is our columns, column rebars. We'll pick on the columns, press Ctrl and pick on the column rebars, press Ctrl and do the same thing. Press Ctrl here and do the same thing and pick on the rebars and pick on the rebars right there. Then we'll do the same thing. Just go ahead and click Copy in that direction. Let's wait for the result. Perfect. Go ahead and click OK. Right click and interrupt to get away from that command. Now if you take a look, and always make sure you save your work. Here we are now. Let's check this on this grid. And remember, you can change all these heights uniformly to height of your choice. And everything and all and the heights of the column rebars will change automatically in accordance with the height of the column. Turn this round like this. Perfect. Double click on that. Under view properties, we'll come to perspective and just go ahead and modify, apply and accept. Then we can turn this nicely, rotate about this spot. Can zoom that. Perfect. Now let's meet on the next presentation where I'll show you how to create, how to place or how to create the floors, how we will place the staircase and other beams. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe and visit the civilmax.com for more videos or more tutorials. Thanks and bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Morris Dimba, your presenter.